minutes. And we're live, sort of, I think, if YouTube doesn't shut us down, which they probably won't. So, welcome everybody. My name is Drew Bingaman. I am the captain of the United States Pirate Party. Welcome to a special stream tonight. I thought we'd just have a little bit of a conversation about how things went today. Obviously, there's some good and bad things to report. Assassinations in Minnesota are bad. The LAPD or Sheriff's Department or military are still abusing people in LA. But mostly, everything else seems like it was a pretty good day out there. So, if you would like to join us live, there is a link in the announcement section of the USPP Discord. So check that out there and join up. Let us know how your day went. And yeah, so I'm just going to say we're going to just go with our IDs. I gave you mine. I'm the U.S. Pirate Party captain. John?
Tom Merchlinsky, chairman of the Northumberland County Democratic Committee, and here to discuss with you guys whatever it is you guys want to discuss and talk about today. No protest for me today. We had our grand open house for our new office that we just secured. So it was a good day all around in the area as well. Bloomsburg and Lewisburg. Their protests were very well attended, as Drew can attest to Lewisburg.
Yeah, I didn't spend a lot of time in Lewisburg, but yeah.
It was.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, go ahead, Wanda.
I'm Wanda, Florida Pirate Party, and a Escambia County resident.
All right. Well, yeah. So in the Susquehanna Valley here, we've had, I don't know, how many did we have? Like 5, 6 different, all around the area.
Yeah, there was Claire, Lewisburg, Bloomsburg, Williamsport. So yeah, it was just generally around almost all the surrounding counties.
Mm-hmm. So, as far as I know, nobody was arrested there. Everything looked pretty good in Lewisburg, where I made a stop. I do have a little bit of a video if you all would. It's about 3.5 minutes, and I can share that if that's cool. I mean, keep in mind that this is a town of about 5,000. So, yeah, let's see if I can get this to go. Oh. No, nope, it didn't like that. So I don't know what I did wrong. I will have to. Well, we'll have to work on that for another time. But I can also upload that to the Discord. I did share it on the Pennsylvania Pirate Facebook page. So if anyone wants to take a look, it's just a drive-through of downtown Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. Pretty much the entire downtown was covered with demonstrators today. So it was pretty cool. There was about 80 to 100,000 people in Philadelphia today, and no arrests. So that's a good news. I mean, there were more arrests during the Super Bowl parade a couple months ago, so that's pretty awesome. Wanda, why don't you let us know how things were in your area?
Oh, I was I was getting the Facebook link to send in the YouTube chat. Though it probably won't go through now that I think about it.
No,
because I'm not a moderator.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb that way.
But things went well. In Pensacola, there were 2 protests here. One by the big mall in the area, and then another near the 3 Mile Bridge, which connects Pensacola to Gulf Breeze, kind of in that area. There was another protest. Both were peaceful from what I saw. I don't believe there were any arrests. Um, the one by the mall was mostly grandmas, to be honest. Um, people with flags, people with signs. Uh, Residents honked their horns as they went by. Some of them gave us the bird. Just is what it is there. But honestly, the biggest danger out there was the heat. It was unbearably hot out there today.
So you were feeling like you were more in the pan and less in the panhandle.
For sure, for sure. There was no real police presence to speak of, except for like a cop car circling the area.
Yeah, I didn't see any police visible. Again, it was a small town, so I didn't really see anybody there. And they had said ahead of time that they were gonna be available, but not necessarily like hovering. So yeah, I think that's. I mean, things that I've seen so far around the country, it seemed like it was like pretty decent.
Yeah, I did hear on Twitter, so take this with a grain of salt, but I did hear that there were incidents in Virginia and Idaho of people trying to drive into the protesters.
I blame your governor for that.
I believe it. I believe it.
Well, Ty has joined us. Welcome.
Hello. Good to be here. Yeah, so I did a take on that. It wasn't just the governor; it was a sheriff.
Yeah, the
Also a
Brevard
sheriff.
County Sheriff.
Oh
was
yeah, he was
he,
terrible.
he was confessing to premeditated murder. It sounds like to me. Uh, those are words. That's literally. I mean, I consider that inciting. Uh, you just can't say that. Like that's
Evidently, you can.
that's right
I
up
mean,
there
what
with.
consequences will he face?
Well, I hope nothing would ever happen, but if it did, I mean, there's him saying we plan to kill people. It's like what? It's insane.
It certainly goes to premeditation. That's for sure.
Yeah, like you can't. If that's what you're thinking, keep that to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't say that stuff out loud.
Well, this whole administration has basically been running on who's going to stop me kind of a thing. And the more that they've gotten away with no consequences, the more that emboldens everybody else. And that's how we degenerate into a completely lawless society. And that's just, I guess that's what they want, so that they can just declare martial law and just.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how they think they could actually make that work, though. This is a big country, and our military is not that big. I don't know.
The civilians outnumber the military, so in the military, it seems to be, as of right now, on the people's side. Now, I do know there was that detainment by the Marines with that person in LA. They didn't keep them. They just shooed them away from the building. So that I can say is murky waters, but their intentions was never to actually detain them police style. It was just like, hey, get away from my buildings. Don't do that. I think you have a right to be around the buildings, but I don't think they should still be detaining people. It's just that was just one occurrence.
For what I've heard, that gentleman was a U.S. vet. He was granted citizenship through his his service in the military, and he was going to an appointment in that building.
Ah,
And then
good.
the Marines detained him for I think at least at the minimum of like 3 hours. It might have been 4 hours before they finally let him go. Um, so
Did
I
he
mean
get
that's
to his appointment?
obviously. I honestly don't think so, unfortunately.
I
Yeah.
mean, frankly,
But
the Marines shouldn't detain a single person on U.S. soil outside of a military base.
Yeah.
it's the violation of posse comitatus. So yeah, it's definitely illegal, and it's the first time in history that has ever happened.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, the courts are slowly catching up with all of 47's administration and himself. They reversed the case, said you can't ban magazines. Nice try. You can't ban books. Nice try. Um, you can't use the national. You can't direct National Guard to do what you want. Nice try.
Well, isn't that ruling on hold though?
No, no.
Yeah,
I had
the
seen that
appeals
ruling was
court.
on hold.
They're
And I've
going to
Yeah,
seen
the
National
appeal.
appeals.
Guard in the streets today.
Yeah, they were. So it was appealed, and the lower court's ruling was put on hold until they could
So it is.
research some more. And so basically, it's just a temporary pause, see what the federal court wants to do with it. So,
You know,
It's
Trump's
pretty
just
clear.
temporarily allowed to do whatever the hell he wants. It's fine.
yeah,
Nothing to see
I
here.
mean, if you see, I mean, if you see the arguments against it, I mean, obviously, Congress did not authorize it at all, which is one of the criteria for the president to nationalize the National Guard or federalize the National Guard, and two, it has to be declared under the Insurrection Act, which has not been declared yet. So he is. I don't know if he's doing this as a test run.
It's all a test run.
But
Mm-hmm. It's all a
yeah,
test run. It's all a test run. It's all a test. It's all it's all bait at this point. It's I just again it just comes back to the whole who's going to stop me and when when so much of our legal system has been relying on people operating in good faith within the system, it falls apart when people operate in bad faith, and they're taking advantage of that. And
I mean, it doesn't help that so many illegal things are happening constantly that our legal system can't keep up.
well, the court system was never designed for that, so
hmm
it's not designed for these emergency, immediate type reactions. It's not designed to react, in a day's within a day's notice. So these
It feels
emergency,
like it was designed with the assumption that if the government was doing something illegal, it was an accident and not purposefully malicious to the people.
mm-hmm, absolutely. And if we come out of this in any type of shape with democracy intact, I mean, there's got to be some reforms that go to that. I don't know what the answer is, but there's got to be some reforms on that so that somehow that you can actively stop, these constitutional law violations. And
Yeah.
right now, it was never set up that way.
It's making its way, which was normal for me to hear with the outright lies. There's a local delegate that I've always been at odds with him anyway because he panders a lot, and I understand that he is a vessel of the people, right? So he's going to generally reflect what keeps him in office. That's what it comes down to. I've told him that, and so he said today. I don't know if I'm saying the senator's name correctly. Padilla.
Padilla, yeah.
Padilla. Okay, and he post. I can't remember if he posted the video or not with it, but the delegate says he never once identified himself. You can see in the video, and if you look in the video, he does identify himself.
multiple times.
And I'm like, what? Dude, are you kidding me right now? You literally just lied.
Yeah,
What?
this is part of it though, Ty. Like the whole "don't believe your lying eyes." That's
Right.
it's insane. Like the stuff that is clear, and these people just have their own spin, and it's beyond spin. It's we have our own narrative, and that's reality.
It's not even clickbait. It's just outright lies.
Right, and the thing is all of their cult members eat it up and believe every bit of trash that comes out spewing out of their mouths. It's this is why it's such a problem.
There is.
Because yeah,
Sorry, go
the
ahead.
cognitive dissonance is terrible.
I'm like I'm on the fence with like the FBI director going on Joe Rogan. Like I understand he has the freedom of speech and free will and all that stuff, but like, what is the director of the FBI doing social media? No. What is going on?
That's all they know. That's all they know.
Honestly, I feel like that's the least of our worries.
Oh my God,
Have
yeah.
y'all been paying attention to what Kennedy's doing in HHS?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he doesn't even
Yeah,
quote.
The
He doesn't
vaccine
even read.
advisory.
Yeah, I honestly think, at one point Kash Patel I thought was going to be one of the worst of the offenders, and truthfully, I think he just is happy to sit in his office and do nothing. And that's great as far as I'm
I
concerned.
mean, don't get me wrong. Kash Patel sucks
He sucks. No, there's no denying
horrendously,
that.
and there is a lot wrong with Trump's FBI, but that's not high on the list of concerns from me. Not when the military's in our streets, not when HHS is getting put through the absolute ringer with Kennedy. Like,
So when did he go rogue? When did this occur? Because he was supposed to be a good person.
Who? Kash?
No.
Oh, Kennedy.
Kennedy
No,
was
he's always been nuts.
Kennedy was never going to be a good pick for HHS. I said from the start of the presidential race, I don't want Kennedy in charge of the CDC because everyone knew he was an anti-vaxxer.
Well, he came out of nowhere, so that's why I didn't really like him.
I mean,
when somebody comes out of nowhere like that, I automatically don't really.
I'm pretty sure the reason he's there is because there was some fuckery involved with, because he had a big contingent of the Libertarian Party that was supporting him.
Yeah.
So there was some fuckery there, and considering that as slim a margins as there were.
I mean, he bought a cabinet position from Trump.
Yeah, basically.
With his endorsement. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because remember, he offered Harris the same deal, if you will. Give me a spot in your cabinet, and I'll endorse you. Well, obviously Harris didn't do that, and of course Trump would. So, probably,
Yeah,
it's.
I don't know.
He's scary. Like his whole family has pretty much disowned him at this point. It's just.
I mean,
dude,
how much of this damage is permanent? Because I don't know that even assuming Democrats get in power again soon, what will they do to fix this?
Yeah, it's a good question.
How much of this is just irreparable with the current political system?
Well, I think the biggest thing Democrats are going to have to do, and obviously speaking as a Democrat, we lose on messaging every year. Our messaging sucks. And, we need to worry about things like LGBTQ and pro-immigrant and things like that. But we can't get lost and mired in just one of those messages. We can't make one of those messages our entire party platform for 4 years and still expect to be able to compete in the realm. Now, the only way I can see anything really being, starting to be fixed is if the Democrats take control of Congress next year, and then in 2028, we retake the White House from the Republicans. Because if another Republican, cut from Trump's mold, gets in, there's not going to be any way to turn it around. Because even though you'll have a Republican in the White House and Democratic control of this of Congress, nothing's going to get done. I mean, no bills are going to get passed. They're going to slow walk everything until the midterms in 30, and I can see it being a vicious cycle. However, people I've talked to, and Drew, I know you've talked to some today too, they are very optimistic that what brought Trump into office last year, that being fed up with the government and things like that, hopefully it'll swing the other way, because the Republicans have nobody but to blame but themselves. They own all three branches, or two branches.
Well,
the
three
two branches
branches.
of Congress.
They do own three branches. Yeah.
Well, three, because of the. So three. I mean, the three branches of government. So, and that's the thing too with the judges that Trump's appointing. He's appointing them at a record pace. And again, I'm glad at this point that there are some judges that are out there that are like, yeah, no. I mean, even for example, on the Supreme Court, Amy Coney Barrett, and same with Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. Trump has attacked them several times now because they didn't rule the way he wanted, because he feels, and he's not even delusional about this. He believes that they owe him everything because he put them on there.
Yeah, and the two that he didn't appoint are the ones that seem to be right with him.
Yeah, Thomas and Alito.
Mm-hmm. So here's what I would say when it comes to messaging with Democrats. The Republicans have made all of this, everything in politics, out to be about culture war bullshit, and Democrats have just let themselves get sucked into it. And if there's one thing that I have learned over the last couple of years with these MAGA idiots, is that they are really just trolls. They just want to be angry about things, and honestly, again, they're operating in bad faith. Everything is a bad faith argument with them. You're not going to win, so don't even engage in that bullshit. There's no point in that, because here's where we end up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you look at, the like you said, the culture wars and stuff like that. That's Trump's since, as long as I can remember. Look, he got sued in the 60s or 70s for discrimination against blacks in New York City housing. And he's any chance he can to discriminate, he will, except when it comes to hiring immigrants for Mar-a-Lago or Bedminster or any of his other projects that he has going on.
Speaking
no
of which,
immigrants.
Was it true that Kid Rock really had illegals working for him at his restaurant? Was that a thing?
It would seem so. Apparently, so it was. You're talking about the raid in Nashville. So what happened was, I guess whoever got word that they were going to be in Nashville doing raids in that, and Kid Rock's restaurant closed, so because the kitchen workers weren't coming to work, so it was definitely there was probably at least one or two, um, you know, illegal immigrants, and with everything else, even if they were legal immigrants working in there, they'd all be rounded up and sent. As we've seen over and over again, there is no due process. Um, they talk about suspending habeas corpus. Um, it's they're out of control, and the more people empower them or become bold, or this act of violence in Minnesota, right, honest to God, it's on the administration's head.
That was an assassination, by the way. That wasn't just an act of. That was
yes.
Those people
that
were
was
targeted specifically because they were legislators.
Yeah, they
Democrat
were.
legislators.
I mean,
Yeah.
it seems like they wanted to completely decapitate the Democratic government in that state.
Yeah, because the guy had a whole hit list, right?
Yeah, and it was like, wasn't it
70
like all
plus.
the prominent Democratic politicians in the state?
I think so.
Tim Walz on there, a bunch of abortion providers, and things like that. He did have no Kings flyers in his car, and I know
I
Julie
think
talked
that's a
about this
red
earlier.
herring.
I don't. Well, no, that's my
stop.
thing. So one of two things could have, like you guys said, it's herring, or he had these so he could infiltrate more protest groups and do more damage to people in those protest groups. If you're carrying a, no Kings flyer, and you kind of look, it would be easy to be able to penetrate crowds and maybe cause more damage. If that's not the case, then yeah, it's definitely one of the biggest red herrings. Obvious.
Yeah, I just hope that doesn't set off, other copycats, or hopefully there aren't other idiots out there that are.
Hopefully, this guy has no co-conspirators.
I called him. That's Luigi's friend.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd rather have more Luigis than this guy.
Yeah, I know.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I said it jokingly, but like that was the first thing that popped in my head. Is like, is this Luigi's friend? Like, what's going on right now?
I don't think they would be friends, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't think.
yeah, because he targeted only Democrats apparently. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's crazy the spin I saw conservatives try to make of this on social media too.
well,
Because
I mean,
apparently this guy was an appointee to some board by the governor there.
yeah. So here's the
I don't
thing.
know.
Here's the thing with a lot of this, all these right wing guys. If you're not one of them, you have been demonized and you have been made less than human in their eyes. And so killing you is nothing, to them. And if you die horribly, they will laugh. Again, because they're nothing but internet trolls, and being governed by internet trolls is never going to work. And we're finding out that it doesn't work when internet trolls get their way. They don't have a plan to govern. They just want to troll.
I mean, I agree with you, but that's not really what I was pointing out. I was really pointing out how they're trying to like flip this on liberals and try to say that this guy was a liberal because he was appointed to something by Walz.
Oh, they definitely have him on.
Oh no,
the news right now. He says, and there's the Minnesota assassin who shot Democratic lawmakers, voted for Donald Trump, and was a strong Trump supporter, according to his best friend. So,
I honestly, with a hit list of of all, basically the entire Democrat government in Minnesota, you can't spin it to say that he's a Democrat. Or you can't.
no
spin
way.
it. I'm sure all the cultists will do their best to say, oh yeah, no. I mean, and we can wait for the inevitable pardon. Maybe. I mean, that's probably
I
coming.
I don't know if that's gonna come with it being something so brazen, and especially with people on the conservative side of things trying to flip this on liberals, like trying to claim this guy is a liberal. I don't. I think this guy is going to feel the full force of the law.
Well, I hope they catch him. They hadn't gotten him
Yeah,
yet, right?
same
I
here.
hope they do.
They still. I mean, they
Huh?
know who they're looking
Um,
for, but they haven't
Last
caught
I
him yet.
saw, he was still at large.
yeah, I was gonna say he was still at large last I saw too.
I can check. Hold on.
Oh, DC was empty today. There's places that I'm looking at where they're
Oh
showing.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I've
There
been
was
to
a
all those
parade
places.
today.
There's no one there. There were more people there when I was there than there is now, and there was nothing going on there except some
Apparently,
concert
a
or
SWAT
something.
team searched the suspect's home. I don't believe he was there though.
Well, like I said, we hope they catch this guy and they put him away for a long time. Yeah. So, oh, I think we lost Wanda again. That's all right. Wanda will be back. So, I did see it. I did see a thing a few days ago where they were looking for paid people to come and fill seats in Washington.
Yeah,
I don't know if that was
yeah.
legit or not, but I saw it was going around.
I'm
Um,
skeptical in part because conservatives try to claim the same thing every time there's a protest that's vaguely liberal
yeah, well,
or
that's
left leaning.
projection.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know.
They weren't paying much. It was like
I'm
$100 for the day.
I'm skeptical about this because when they say it about us, it's not true. So I'm that's why I'm skeptical. You know,
Yeah, I think it's a lot. Honestly, I think the whole election fraud stuff and this paid agitators thing, I think it's all projection. And I think that's really I think that's one of their main tactics too. It's projection.
I mean,
So
it's certainly possible.
Absolutely.
It would not shock me if that were the case. But it's important to be
Have you
skeptical of these kinds of things. You don't want to be as conspiracy brained as they are, you know?
I mean, yeah, no, that's one of those allegedly things. I don't know if that was legit or not. I did, so, but I did see that making rounds a couple of days ago.
New York State, there is a county that there were absolutely zero votes for Vice President Harris last year. And they're now doing a hand recount. I think we talked about this at the office earlier, Drew. But they're having to do a hand recount now because she got zero votes. And there's evidence that this particular this ballot machine that was used in the area was one that you could actually connect to the internet with, and it could connect to Musk's Starlink, and there was some kind of update. I mean, I mean, all I know is that they're doing a hand recount. Anything about the other stuff like Starlink or updates or anything like that, I'll wait to see how that plays out. But I do know at least the court's ordered a hand recount. And if for some reason there is one or two votes for Vice President Harris that weren't recorded on the machine, or the machine changed it, then you're going to have all this rhetoric. Oh well, it was illegitimate election and stuff like that, and that's just going to get really, really nasty.
And
Um,
honestly, it doesn't
I
even matter at this point we're
So-
beyond
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
I mean,
yeah, there's
especially
nothing
in New York, like she won New York anyways. It's not
Yeah,
going to
I
change the
think it's
result of New York's election.
no. But I guess they're looking at the bigger picture. I guess there's been reports of fraud in the other areas of the country as well, and I think if they can prove one thing, it might help the dominoes fall. I think it's a gigantic waste of time, because like you guys have said, it's
That ship has
done
sailed.
over with.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, unless you can prove, with evidence,
I
massive voter
wow.
fraud, then there's
Why
nothing to do. Then
why should we waste our
and
time
then we risk.
retracing Trump's steps after his 2020 loss? It's it's a fruitless effort. It's not going to change
Exactly.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah, we
They're
start
not.
sounding like
We're not going to just miraculously declare Kamala president by October. You know,
yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
according to the
we're
Constitution, he shouldn't even have been on the ballot.
yes.
it's a moot point. He's
But yeah,
in the White House,
hmm and
and I
so
mean, he's not going to get impeached.
no, not with
So
even
it's a moot point.
yeah, it is.
Even if even if the Democrats take the House and Senate um, next year, maybe an impeachment, but no conviction. Because I don't think even if the Democrats control the Senate, they're not going to have that 2/3 majority to convict him. But
If
impeachment, more than
if
likely.
Democrats control the Senate after these midterms, Trump's got bigger things to worry about, honestly, because
Well,
it'll
yeah,
have
I
mean
agree.
Democrats have won like in a state they have no business winning in.
Yes. So, but yeah, it should be an interesting.
I will say the the first poll I've seen for Florida's gubernatorial race is interesting.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, Republican leads like you'd expect, but like it's like 32% undecided or some ridiculous number. Like, hold on, let me pull this up.
And
Uh,
and and honestly, if the Democrat in the race, being who he is, he could probably win that.
Do you think
David
maybe
Jolly
that's
is a former.
2026.
Wanda? Do you think maybe that's some of the Hispanic population, especially maybe the Cubanos down in Miami area, changing their becoming undecided because they're seeing what these idiots are doing?
It could be. It could be. I really couldn't say. Um, so this is the poll. It's from Victory Insights. 600 sample size. 2.8% margin of error, and it's between Byron Donalds and David Jolly. It gives Byron Donalds 37%, David Jolly 31%, and 32% to undecided.
That's a toss
Yeah,
up,
that's
man. That's total toss up.
it's gonna get closer to the time too. I actually had the chance to meet David Jolly. Um, showed up in my
I'm
living room one night because he needed a paper notarized. So that's how I met David Jolly. So, but I talked with him a little bit. I talked to him after I met him, and he's absolutely 100% competent. And if Donald is going to run on his MAGA background and the Republican background that he has, he's not going to win. I mean, he held out during the speaker fight, which wasn't very MAGA of him, and stuff like that. So, well, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that shapes up, and Trump's going to have his fingers in that, and hopefully the National Democrats will also get off their ass and do something so we can save you guys in Florida.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still a bit skeptical, in part because he is a former Republican, and I'm a bit scarred from Christ's run a few years ago. Good
Yeah.
Lord, what a nightmare!
Yeah, when I met him, he was an independent because he left the party over Trump.
hmm
Um, and now he switched to Democrat to run for governor. So, um, I mean, he definitely isn't, um, a wolf in sheep's clothing. There, he's not MAGA, and he's very upset with what was his Republican Party when they, started, you know, pandering Trump and everything else. He just couldn't take it anymore, and he said, you know, he wasn't gonna, he had no intentions on running ever again, from what he told me. But apparently things changed, and I'm glad to see he's in that race.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how things go. See if anyone else actually enters that primary. Um,
Yeah, that would be
Is
interesting.
are those the only two that have declared officially so far that you know?
let me look. There's Charles Burkett, Burkett, the mayor of Surfside in the Republican primary, and then there's Jason Pizzo. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Who's running as an independent. He's the former minority leader in the Florida Senate.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That is
Um,
interesting.
yeah.
So it could end up
Um,
being a three-way race if the independent makes the ballot.
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Oh man,
now
that
I
could make
will
a real mess.
say if if other people enter that Democratic primary, probably bad news for Jolly. Because looking at the
Yeah.
primary polls, he ain't pulling too much.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. If somebody gets in a little bit more established Democrat, with some, voting history and Democratic policy history behind him, uh, Jolly would probably lose that race. Unfortunately, but maybe maybe David Jolly isn't the right answer if he's only polling at those numbers,
Yeah,
or at least Democrats don't think he is. So,
yeah.
but
Well, I also think a lot of Democrats in the state are probably scarred from Christ's run and don't want to
oh, I'm
repeat
sure.
that.
Yeah, yeah, because that was pretty bad. Yeah,
Um, but I'm really hoping to see things change here. Especially with it being a blue wave year. I mean, call me delusional. Maybe Florida can be a swing state again.
I think a lot of states a lot of states that either swung one way or I think there's a good possibility, especially with Florida's demographics, that could be seeing things swing a little bit back towards back away from MAGA. Let me put it that way. How about that? It's not necessarily to the Democratic side, but it's away from MAGA. I
more of a rejection of MAGA than it would be embracing the Democratic
right,
Party.
right.
Is the
I
way I see it.
I
I
think we're going
mean,
to see that across the country, but
maybe a return to normal, honestly, for Florida, because the political climate in Florida has kind of been anything but normal since like 2018.
Yeah,
I
but
think
you think about it and you wonder, like, what is normal? What is our normal compared to Pennsylvania's normal or Montana's normal or Texas, California? You know what I mean? It's everybody's is it's different. What is normal for you? everybody has those norms, so you got to get back to the normal that was Florida, the normal that was Pennsylvania before MAGA decided to take over. There were states in this last election that I thought for sure were going to go for Harris, and then Trump wins them in like big numbers. I'm like, oh shit, we missed something. Like, especially here in Pennsylvania with that race. I mean,
I really think we had just fooled ourselves.
yeah,
And I
think
mean,
so too. And we did this.
it was always an uphill battle for Kamala.
Mhm.
I
Well, in the
mean,
short amount of time that she had to campaign too.
I think everybody left of center was running on hopium after Joe Biden dropped out.
I think that's honestly one of the biggest
Yeah.
mistakes that the Democratic Party has made. And as much as I don't like the taco blaming Joe Biden for everything, I think that one genuinely he should have never even been running for re-election. I just I don't know.
No,
That's my
there should have
opinion.
been. Well, he was only supposed to run for one term. He was never going to run for a second term, but I guess Jill and whoever talked him into it. So um,
I
then
mean,
and there, when you have to have some talk you in to running for the highest office in America, you obviously don't want to do that anymore.
I mean, he was unpopular even amongst his own party at the time, and no high-profile Democrat actually stood up to challenge him. It's
Yep.
it. I don't know how people in the party thought that was going to go.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
there should
crazy.
have been an open primary.
Mm-hmm. I don't. I mean, the problem is there's a lack of other younger prominent Democrats, and the problem in the Democratic Party where there's this we reward you for years of service thing, like it's finally his turn. Like that's not the way it should be in politics. Yes.
No, and they did the same thing with Hillary, though.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I
I mean,
mean, let's be honest, they
had
did
her
it.
own, she had her own things that made her unpopular. But honestly,
I mean, let's not forget that Hillary did win the popular vote.
That's true.
That is true.
The entire state of California voted for her.
I mean, I would expect the entire state of California to vote for whoever is the next Democratic nominee, to be honest, at this point.
But that state is wild. I mean, they had the Terminator as governor. I mean, that's pretty cool, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta admit.
Anywhere else in the world, that'd be its own country.
I gotta
Seriously.
admit, that's
Yeah, isn't it?
It's honestly wild to
Isn't it
think
bigger
that
than-
in very recent years, California and Massachusetts had Republican governors.
Oh, yeah. It is. But neither of those were traditional Republicans.
No,
Like-
I mean, but they're still Republicans.
Yeah. And neither of them would I consider either of them MAGA Republicans. I don't think either of them is really much on the Trump wagon.
No, not to my knowledge. I really don't know about Baker. I don't really know how involved he is in politics nowadays. Isn't he president of the NCAA?
That sounds right. Something like
Yeah.
that.
And the Terminator isn't pro-Trump.
No, he did a
yeah.
message. He did a message. It didn't quite say that, but it was pretty clear to me that he did not like anything that was upcoming. Basically, the same speech that Biden gave on his way out. It's basically the same thing.
I mean, did you remember when everybody was attacking Harris last year because she said, by the summer we'll be in the middle of we'll be in the middle of a war or a conflict, and that our economy will be
I
going into
believed
a
everything she
recession.
said. I'm not even going to lie.
And
I believed everything she said, but it's like, what can I do?
yeah, exactly. Like it, and like one of her um, biggest downfalls in that campaign last year was when she was doing an interview and she was asked, "What would you do differently than this administration has done?" And she answered, "Not a thing."
Yeah,
Then you're not distinguishing yourself from the
yeah,
unpopular president.
yeah, that was a
That's the
huge
problem
mistake.
with running a vice president of a president that was not very popular.
Yeah, you have
Right.
to
Now,
have your own opinions at least.
yeah, she needed to run away from Biden as far as she could. Um, Sometimes that's the best thing to do when you have a vice president like that. Now, back in 2000, for example, Gore moved away from Clinton when he should have moved closer. Clinton was very popular at the time.
I don't think
Um,
Gore was ever. He didn't have the +4 charisma bonus that Bill Clinton had, and I think we even
that's
learned
true.
that Hillary didn't have it either, even though she was very successful uh, in New York politics. But I think we learned that Bill was his own thing, uh, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that this makes us old, talking about this. But uh, you know, I think Gore during that entire the entire Clinton administration, Gore was always the one that got shit on. He got shit on
Yeah.
even when Clinton was legitimately being shit on. Gore was
Yep.
getting more shit. And
Yeah.
that, he didn't invent the internet, for crying out loud.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
I mean, another
That's one of those.
reminder, Gore won the popular vote, and
Yes.
what happened in Florida is quite questionable. So,
Well, think about it. Florida in 2000, it was Jeb Bush, um, that was in charge. So, um,
I mean, was it not like the dang. Hold on. I need to look something up before I speak on it.
I think honestly,
yeah,
what
but I mean,
we need, you know, we need to get away from this TV celebrity or social media celebrity
we
politicians.
need to go back. We need to go back to having statesmen
Mm-hmm.
run for presidency. People who have experience, foreign policy experience, that are with no questionable backgrounds, like Trump. You know what I mean? Um,
I don't even think you need. I don't even think you need foreign
any
policy
celebrity.
experience. But celebrities don't, like a celebrity or even a social media influencer. I can see that happening, and it's just not going to be good.
You know,
No, no.
you know, I'm not trying to idolize these celebrities, but back to the Terminator and Jim Carrey specifically, they even said this themselves. All right, when they were talking, I can't remember specifically what they were talking about, but they were basically talking about everyday life outside of being rich, being wealthy, and they both came to the conclusion: why would people listen to them like that? They don't live in the same realm. World is totally different for them. It's totally different. Why would you listen to them? They don't live in the same world. And I was like, well, shoot, you're making me like you even more. But
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
mean, honestly,
Yeah.
that's why governors are generally a better step to the presidency than anything else. It's why Congress people generally are not elected. Senators, same thing. I mean, Biden had to be vice president before he got it seriously considered.
Yeah.
So
So senators have not traditionally been elected presidents. You have to go back to Kennedy prior to Obama to
and
get
Obama had
a s-
he had the magic though. Like I
yeah,
saw that guy when he first hit the stage at what DNC was that? Was that 2004?
it's 24. Yeah, when he did the speech for at at John Kerry's
Yeah,
uh, nomination. Yeah.
right. Yeah, there's another dud for you, by the way. John Kerry.
Yeah.
Like, come
Ooh-wee.
on.
also,
But before this previous year, the last time a Republican won the popular vote,
Was Reagan. I think it was Bush.
it was
The first
Bush
Bush.
versus Kerry.
Yep.
that actually kind of makes a little sense.
Kerry was terrible. He was a terrible, like the complaint about Democrats from the regular people is they keep nominating all these elites. Can you get more elite than like John Kerry just bled blue, like he was a blue blood, like it's, and not in the sense that he was a Democrat, like it was
Well,
the
who was he
sense that,
married to?
oh
Was
God, I
it? It
don't
was a big
remember.
heiress. It was a big
That's right.
heiress. Oh, that was the Hines. Senator
Oh,
Hines' widowed wife.
that's right.
He married Hines.
Carissa Hines Kerry.
That's it. That's
Yep.
it. Yep.
Yep. That used to be Senator Hines' wife. Yep. Of
Mm-hmm.
the Hines fortune.
Mm-hmm.
So
One notable
um,
thing about Obama is I watched his recent speech. I can't remember what college campus he was at, but it was really good. Just check it out sometime. But Hamilton College. He was invited there to speak and do a little interview on stage and whatnot. And he pointed out something really interesting about why he think I'm paraphrasing, not trying to put words in his mouth, but basically why he had maybe just a slightly bit more leverage is he was one of the presidents to actually take hold of the digital realm. You know, he actually hopped on board to the internet. He didn't know much about it. You know, he's like, what you mean we can, it's a website and people we can organize with that and they can give me money on there? Like, yeah. And
yeah,
so he
he
was one
really
of the
did
first to
work
do
that.
that.
I still say though I knew from the first time I saw him that he had the charisma bonus. Again, taking the nerdy D&D reference to it, he had his charisma was maxed, and that guy, I knew that guy was going to be, he was a shooting
Yeah.
star. From that moment that I saw that speech in 2004, it was.
I mean, he won Indiana for crying out loud.
It was with his communication versus Trump's communication is dramatically different. So
Oh yeah,
Obama's language is you, we, you, we. Trump is me, 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 me. I. I'm like, dude, oh my gosh, I can't listen to you.
Yeah, I
Ugh.
mean, Obama did it in what I consider the right way. His language was the right way, even though I disagreed with a lot of the things that he wanted to do, or was in his in his campaign. I wasn't a big supporter, but I had some mad respect for that dude. I still do. I mean, he's probably the best. He's probably the best that we're gonna see in a long time.
And which brings me up to another thing, because I haven't said this before. I got to say this, but this whole, Trump wants a third term, and then people are coming out of the Democratic side going, well, if we're going to do that, let's put no. Don't fall for that. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it.
Now it's another thing that's a trap. So,
Yes.
well, we've gone an hour. I think we've gone all over the place. It started out with we've even had a little bit of a history lesson with electoral politics here in the United States and all that stuff.
Just showing our age, Drew.
Yeah. Well, yeah. At least you and I are. Ty, any closing remarks?